Previously on the Stanley Parable. New content, eh?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content? Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Boobs. Ass. Boobs. Ass. Boobs. Ass. Boobs. Ass. I'm sorry, I love them both.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Begin the game. Watch, it's just gonna put me back to the beginning of the game, isn't it?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
No!
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
You son of a bitch!
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
You see, the fucked part is I don't know.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Oh!
Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
See, the best part is because I haven't played the first game, I wouldn't actually know whether or not I've been duped. But I do notice the title screen and the balloons. So I'm experiencing it fresh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, fuck bucket!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Woo! Bucket! Yeah! Woo!
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Woo!
This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Woo! All praise the bucket.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did, but Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Aww. Nani?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today.
Okay.
We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Okay. O čemu ona priča? Ona nije moja devojka. Zašto ona nije otišla da kupuje stvari? Ja ne idem da kupujem stvari. Stvarno iskreno, ja stvarno idem da kupujem stvari. Zato što ja taktički to radim. Ja sve isplaniram iz početka. Ja uđem unutra u shopping centar i ja znam odmah gde moram da idem i šta moram da kupim. Ja ne trošim gluposti i vreme da hodam okolo da gledam šta je na sale, šta je na prodaju, šta su snizili. Ja se ne zajebavam. Ja znam odmah šta ću da kupim i bez problema samo odem i kupim.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Hell yeah! I'm achieving things in my life while collecting achievements in the collectibles. Woo! Alright, so how do I get off here? Oh wait, we can't. Shit! Oh no. Ah! And we are here. Achievement hunter. I'm an achievement hunter. I like to achieve hunt. I suck at singing, so, you know. Narrator sound system. What the hell? Nani?
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Okay. You see, at first I thought he was getting a little too friendly with the bucket because the bucket has a hole. And then the feeling of emptiness was the shame and disgust in yourself having finished inside a bucket. And the fact that you don't feel anything because the bucket has such a wide girth. But then I began to realize that maybe he was thinking of opening an OnlyFans account with his bucket, similar to how so many boyfriends do with their girlfriends. You know, it's like pimping, but not really. And so then I was like, oh, that's gonna happen. But then I started wondering whether or not he was a schizophrenic. But then I started realizing that the voice in the background was probably something different to him. And then I'm starting to think, what the hell?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Stanley loves his...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Daddy's gonna hit me again. What?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
So, why am I at a strip club?
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect.
Nani?
It's a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No, that is a cum receptacle.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Ah!
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Can I get a closer inspection of the bucket, Eddie?
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
You sound like my father. What's next, a goat?
Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
What?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
It's a shit bucket.
Trick question. Both. Got
What? 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 What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Is it my bucket?
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
No! No!
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket? Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
See, this is what happens when you give acid to an English major.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
But maybe the orders are coming through the narrator's voice all along. Figure Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room. Maybe this time I don't take the bucket. Now I'll take the bucket.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
I am whole.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
It would have been funny if I ended up on the cargo elevator going backwards. It would have been like, oh my god, Kuma has good spatial awareness.
Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in?
Get in the bucket.
How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
This
And
is
here
my...
it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Become as bucket. Become as bucket.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Where's the dark room? Become as bucket. Become as bucket. How did the bucket know that the room was dark?
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
I obey.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
The bucket can talk. You're full of shit. See, I could never decorate a place like this. For many reasons. One, who will actually sit here and use this chair? Ah, the bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press down to take me to work with you. No, Mr. Bucket. We must go to the bedroom together. Yes. No bedroom? Can we go to the bathroom? See, this makes sense. You open the door, bathroom. No, wait, that doesn't actually make sense. Why would the way to the living room be... Well, why would the way to the bedroom be through the living room? Would it not make more sense that the way to the bathroom is from the living room and the way to the bedroom is through here? But then again, if you wake up in the middle of the night and want to go to the bathroom, then you got to go all the way to the living room, through their television room to here. The design of this place does not make much sense. It is so impractical. It would be a lot simpler, in fact, to actually close this, have the bedroom there, and have the bathroom as an ensuite. My god. Is this what passes for a one-bedroom apartment these days? You see, there we have 3 dildos. A white dildo, a red dildo, and of course, the much coveted black dildo. And then of course, the box. And a little bit of duct tape when you have friends over.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
The bucket tells me and I obey. I must obey. Become as bucket. We are bucket. I am the bucket. The bucket is me. Oh, my bucket. You are all that I ever need in this world. You completely complete me. You give me solace. You give me warmth. You give me companionship and love.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Oh, Bucket, will you watch television with me? It will be oh so entertaining. Can I cook some tea? Apparently I'm now stuck in this room. Without a bucket of all things. Where on earth... Oh, there is my lovely bucket. We were having tea together. Let us go back to work, oh Bucket.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
No, you can also stand on a bucket to reach greater heights. You can also swing the bucket in rapid succession and hit someone over the head with it. You can also wear the bucket as a hat. It is quite the fashion statement, actually. Don't listen to the loud man. Go back home with the bucket.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
You sound a little bit jealous, don't you? That I found someone that finally appreciates me and cares for me and treats me with the love and respect that I deserve. To ignore anyone in your life except for me. Yes, Bucket, you and I will be together till the end of time.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press square to go back home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Why is this couch slightly bent inward? It's fucking with my OCD. And why on earth is this one bent in? And why on earth would you put this type of carpet here? Imagine the stains you would get when you spill something. Press down to relive the same day with me over and over till the end of time.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Oh, Bucket, you complete me.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Oh, this would be romantic if it wasn't a fire hazard! Literally everything in this apartment, including the floor, is flammable!
Stanley, give me the bucket.
No!
Give me the bucket, Stanley.
No!
I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
It's mine. Where's my bucket? Meeting today in the meeting room. Yeah, like that's actually ever gonna happen.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Oh, I love you, Bucket.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
I know, right? See, he gets it.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong.
I will be
Stanley
honest.
took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I'll be honest, the first playthrough has a lot more differences in dialogue if you repeat the same action. This one is linear. It gives you different options with the bucket, but it doesn't give you additional dialogue every single time you go through a different section. The only thing I am wondering is whether or not the door on the left is actually open without the bucket.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Take me to the confusing ending with the bucket in hand.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
What the hell? Why is the broom closet here? And the computer. And the pencil sharpener. And the mannequin. And the giant baby. Oh, what the devil?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
No, I'm not giving the bucket away, no. Why does this only go down? Isn't the function of a lift to go up and down? You know, thus the name lift? My God. You know what you are? 18 years of regret. Oh, so the reason why you gave me the swivel chair is because it's the mobile chair that can move wherever it wants, so I don't feel threatened, mannequin. Well, you think I'm gonna fall for your reverse interrogation tactics? And what about you, Mr. and Mrs. Fern? I don't even remember what you're supposed to be used for. I don't get this gag. I definitely don't get your gag. You I sort of get. Ah, yes. See? The three of us are now together. So what the hell am I supposed to do? Fine.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. And I was gonna say, these chairs look like they're lines for a hooker. A hooker in there massaging as a masseuse. I said massaging as a masseuse. I was supposed to say posing as a masseuse. You know, it's a little bit how people online think they're modeling, but what they're actually doing is softcore porn. I mean, just because you don't get naked doesn't mean you're not doing porn. Softcore is a category. You don't have to put 3 things in your ass to be doing porn. That's just
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No, this is the human resources
Can you guess what
disposal.
the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No. As I was saying, hardcore porn is mostly for people that's...
Now
well,
listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
No!
I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer.
No!
Damn bucket! Quickly now! The fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
I choose the bucket. What the...
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Can I keep my bucket?
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
I mean... I don't know, you tell me. You're the narrator of this thing that you call a video game. Seriously, how is room 420 not... Ooh, what does this say? Awaiting input. Come here. Ah! What else? Alright, up you go, come up. It's not letting me press it. Damn it!
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Well, now the bucket knows that I would have killed it. It's like a shit test. A shit test that you fail.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things.
It's like when you get given a shit test and you fail and the other person loses all respect for you. The bucket knows I would have thrown it away. The bucket knows. I will forever be unworthy of the bucket. And I will forever never truly have the bucket's... well, trust. Ever again. The relationship is sour. There is no way to salvage it. Oh well, I guess it's time for us to just drink a bunch of booze and find another inanimate object to put our penis in. Ah, the life of a teenager.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Is it just me or have the balloons disappeared? Am I the only one? Balloons gone? Ah! Trust the completionist instinct. No. There will be a reward for finding them all. Mission. Inside the sequel exhibit. A large room. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Chicky's barking at the door, guys. Okay, we're all good. It's not the bucket seeking its revenge. Near a fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important person, somewhere both red and blue. Okay, I'm guessing that... I think we'll be fine. I think the game will be the same. Now that we didn't pick up the butt. No!
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Wait, but didn't I already do that ending? I ended up in a desert or something. See? No.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever.
I already did it in Zero Escape multiple times.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Yeah, and then my car got destroyed 6 months later.
Into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, right,
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Oh yeah, I never actually went to the exit thing. And I never actually pushed yes to stop the control thing. So I never actually followed the instructions, did I? And the other time I escaped, which is why I got that secret ending. So it's like, maybe Kuma should just listen to the voice. But will Kuma do that? Is Kuma even capable of following instructions and authority?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Imagine if this guy was reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wait a minute. So those ladies that used to drink novels back in the day before television existed were actually reading hardcore pornographic literature? Oh my god. No wonder the men tried to stop the women from reading.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
See? No bucket. It's the same thing. So you can actually play the OG game.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I mean, it's possible. Okay, Kuma.
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay, so Kuma's finally following the instructions for the first time ever. Is that good or bad? And Kuma's hungry again. Because all Kuma had to eat was a burger. And 3 wings. And some chips.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
So are you telling me that life is not about understanding the meaning, but rather living it? My God. How could I have been so blind?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Until... What?! Oh, that is the lamest ending ever.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Oh, God. See, now I have the lingering feeling of... Okay, whatever you do, keep your back on the wall. No one can get you if your back's on the wall. Yeah? No one can get you, right? Check your corners. Will you protect me, Bucket?
A good bucket. A strong bucket. A humble bucket. A committed bucket. A bucket of culture and distinction.
Protect me, oh
Stanley
Bucket.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, protect me, my Bucket. Ah, thank God for this. Stairs could be the ones leading to the boss's room. Ah, yes.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
I mean, the broom closet is not exactly wrong. We could have gotten just as attached to any other inanimate object.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
You see, Hutchin asked me, if I was to get a tattoo, what would you want me to get? And I said, one on your...
I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Anyway, Hutchin was like, oh, if I was to get a tattoo, where would you want me to get it? And I said, your
You know
ass.
what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Thank you. Anyway, third time's the charm. Hutchin asked me, Kuma, if I was to get a tattoo, where would you want me to get it? Kuma replied, on your ass. Hutchin implied, why? I said, in case you get lost, we can put property of Kuma. Please return to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Hutchin's like, but then you're going to have to get a tattoo in your ass. And I'm like, sure, I'll get one. And she says, what do you mean? And I said, I'll get made in Yugoslavia. Finally, I got to tell my story. Jesus Christ. See, now I know how it feels when I'm ranting
Coming
about
to a
shit.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
See, when you call it a figly, I think of figs. And that kind of gives a weird thing, because it makes me feel like you can eat the thing. And I kind of feel like you shouldn't be eating it, because, well, you'll probably get sick. And then Kuma's just hungry, and he's instinctively going to the pizza website that he always uses, even though they fucked up his order that time. And it makes you wonder, is Kuma an idiot for ordering from the same place that he keeps making complaints about? But then you gotta realize that we are actually humans of creatures of habit, and we unfortunately keep doing the same things even if they fuck us over. Now Kuma might be wondering, which email did he use to register his account with this pizza company? And he doesn't know, so he starts guessing. And then Kuma realizes, imagine if you wanted to get people's passwords. What's the best way to do it? Make a website that looks like the website you want to get the person's password for. But here's the real trick. You put in an enter your email and password section, and then when they enter the details, you say, incorrect details, please enter them again. And then the person will enter them again, trying a different password or the same password. They will repeat this action over and over until they're 100% sure that this thing is not working, and they'll try to recover the password. And then you've got that person's not only their current password, but the previous few passwords they have used for that website and other websites. Thus, you have the person's password. Alright, I'm going to wait for them to give me an estimated delivery time, and then I'm going to take a photo of it. Alright, I'm with the bucket, and I got myself the little statue. Alright, now let's die.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
This is absolutely genius. They saved a fortune on developing a sequel by just adding a bucket into an image and providing a new voiceover. It is absolutely genius. You have to commend the game creator for this feat of efficiency without loss of quality and effectiveness. And it's pretty funny.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
This ain't a fucking broom closet, it's a storage room. With a broom in it. And cleaning equipment.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yes, corporate in a nutshell.